Aloha. Today I wanted to do a quick video and address the kind of state of affairs of the political interactions of so-called movements, and specifically zero in on the flat Earth space. Kind of leave that as like a foundation, and then go into all the other information streams or so-called movements that are out there, and simultaneously address this flat earth community slash movement slash union talk, and revisit the video that I did in the past where I expressed as the community as a whole is already a limitation and a psyop when you take into account how big this is, how important this this time right now, and what's all involved here, because we're talking about the biggest realization that we can perceive right now. There are so many other movements going on, but when you're talking about the very nature of the earth, the world where all those movements exist upon, you're talking about freedom papers on a collective, on a massive scale, and we're really looking at it from no different than slaves being released after, the end of slavery, and that whole psychology of the slaves and the slave masters, and what happened after the slave masters so-called release of slave. They just installed another slave system we call the monetary system, the fiat currency system, the slave labor system, the university system, all these other systems that were put in place to lock in a deeper grip on the control grid and hoard the energy of consciousness itself. And this is how I link in the Mandela effect with how this is such a big deal with people being free. We're being free, freeing ourselves on a conscious scale, and our physical reality is manifesting as such, to where some people are believing dimensions and information that are a part of the slave consciousness, and other people are remembering and experiencing their true depths of memory. And memory is very important, because we're talking about how we understand our past, how we perceive our present, and how we're creating our future from that foundation. So the history the history program of regurgitating roots and regurgitating like the slave state mentality, zeroed in on like the black community in the United States, to replay slave movies and slave stories and slave history, and never go into the depths of golden aged empowered states and the origins of humanity itself, and those depths of understanding, and never going into that space, you are inherently creating another control grid. The political setup itself with Bernie Sanders and Killer Mike with Bernie Sanders, and this whole Hollywood teaming up with Bernie Sanders, is just another version of the control grid evolving itself to create another slave system after the so-called release. That's just one version, like being released from, let's just say Bernie Sanders was elected as president and everything. From this moment, like tomorrow he was elected president, so The people who believe in Bernie Sanders would get those little $15 doggy treats and that whole little free college. You're getting free institutionalization. You're getting free health care that is still going to make you sick. So it's sick care. You're getting all this stuff. So let's just say that went down tomorrow. That's no different than I can't even I can't even go into that space right now because it's so jacked up to see how many layers are all involved in what's going on. I'm just going to go down the list of how many different movements are going on right now, as far as people who come into the flat earth realization and don't do the inner work or don't do all of the work that is involved within themselves. They get angry at people who are so-called leaders. They see them as only leaders because they're subscribers. They see these people, Eric DeBay, Jeranism, Mark Sargent, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, Patricia Steele. They're only seen as leaders because of this number, this subscription number. They are not leaders. They are, at the most innocent space, they are just regular people who found some information, found a niche, found a way to share information within themselves, like an art, and then decided to share that. But that doesn't mean that they are meant to do anything more than what they're doing. These individuals are out here to do exactly what they're doing. If they were meant to do something else, then they would be doing something else. But they're not. And if you vest your energy in them, then you are vesting your energy into their line of thought, their line of limitation, their stream of both positives and negatives. And when you are talking about ultimate freedom, you are talking about understanding the very natures of yourself, your connection to the earth plane itself, and everything that's involved in the aftermath of that realization. At the same time that all this is going on, you have the opposition and the controlled opposition with distraction. And a perfect example of this is how deep this distraction goes. So, or how deep these oppositions and controlled oppositions goes. You got TYT, which pushes a Bernie Sanders agenda, which is just another layer of slavery. And they're supposed to be the alternative news source outside of the mainstream media. You have people who believe in these Hollywood actors. When you got Leonardo DiCaprio going to the United Nations talking about being a messenger for peace, and Emma Watson going to the United Nations talking about the how sexist everything is. And you have people in Hollywood like this dude putting out the Snowden. Okay, so Snowden itself was put out there. He was put out there so-called to put information out into the mainstream consciousness that is supposed to be tearing down the system and revealing information. You think that he would be having a Hollywood movie and all this stuff? You think it's separate? If that was true, he's definitely placed out there. Not to mention the fact that Oliver Stone is the director of this, and they're trying to make you believe this stuff. So Oliver Stone is the director of Snowden, so that's supposed to make Snowden's credibility more real for you. And then you have Oliver Stone's son, who's another layer, Sean Stone, who is another layer of so-called revealing information, is talking about all this other stuff. So these are just examples of, he's talking about chemtrails. He's talking about aliens and the cabal, the Illuminati, Stanley Kubrick, Alex Jones. He's talking about all these other systems that are out there that exist underneath the mainstream distraction code. And so he, being out there, gives Oliver Stone credibility, and then Oliver Stone gives Snowden credibility, and then Snowden or Hollywood and Oliver Stone and this channel, his son, gives Snowden his credibility. So these storylines are all getting activated in your face for you to focus his energy on a storyline itself, and altogether it's distraction. It's distraction and instability. And hoarding of information and control and that whole thing. What it's distracting you from is the whole story being put together all over the place. It's no different than the distraction of getting caught up in repeating yourself over and over and over again on flat earth and hot potatoes, and just talking about, the earth is flat. Oh, the earth is flat. Oh, yeah, the earth is flat. Well, how did the earth is flat? Oh, the earth is flat. Oh, well, this earth is flat. Oh, yeah, those people and the earth is round. And oh, yeah, the earth is flat though, right? Yeah. Well, this and the earth is flat, and then the earth is flat. And then it's just a constant repetition. Is no different than watching American Idol or Stephen Colbert. It's a distraction, but you can't really blame these individuals, because if they could do anything more better, they would be doing. But this is not. It's just not. It's not as simple as, what the external information stream is showing. Like, they are just sharing as much as they could do on the most innocent space. They are sharing as much as they could do, and we are being freed from chains of limitation and being angry in a sense, because we've been lied to for so long. We have these expectations on these individuals who are still just individuals. They don't know what else is out there, what's all involved in here. There might still be a little fear involved in all this, and there might be all kinds of things that are going on. Maybe they're even compromised, maybe they're part of the controlled opposition to begin with. We don't know. Maybe there's all kinds of maybes there. But my point being is that this shift has to come from the inside out. If you go from the outside in, that's going to be a repetition of the system as a whole, and then what led up to this, and it'll be an egoic version of interaction with what's going on. And you have the other controlled opposition of the New Age community, where they do another version of distraction, where it's distracting you with the amplification of the higher vibrations of the inner. So they just keep distracting. Oh yeah, just wait. So there's these, just wait for these interdimensional aliens or extraterrestrials or whoever that are coming from the stars. And then there's just wait for the system to implode. We're seeing the mainstream and all this other stuff, and Bernie Sanders coming about. So that's like from the ground up. This is from like the stars down, and meanwhile everybody is caught in between. And one of the groups that are in between are these flat earth individuals who find themselves repeating themselves over and over and over again, just talking about, the flat earth, 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 the flat earth. It's just over, and it's nonsense. There's all these different versions that are out there, and if we don't look at the big picture as a whole, then we're gonna get herded into another version. And that's what these individuals don't want to do. They don't want to be like the people who did that. They don't want to be the people who were at the head of that herding. So they stay in their little boxes, in their little walls, and just kind of like repeat themselves over and over and over again. And yeah, all this stuff that exists. I just wanted to give a list of how many other different movements are out there going on right now, because we're talking about freedom. You're talking about freedom. You're talking about freedom papers and free will in a sense. And how I see free will, there's two storylines going on right now. Like, we have the free will of the infinite space of, you see the worst of the worst on this earth plane, and you see the best of the best, and we harnessed, or the brightest of the brightest, and we harness the potential to do everything on either layer. And we, as connected beings to a higher source of energy, we have created this reality where we exist as we do right now. And there have been individuals or groups of entities or beings that have imposed their will on others, but there are still rules within this space. So as powerful as their imposed will might seem to us, with all this Illuminati and all this other stuff, there are still rules within this system, and there is still the engagement within the consciousness ourselves of our own power grid, our own power in connecting with that, and being a creator of this reality from existing outside of time and space as a whole. Like, all of this stuff exists at the same time. Then you mix in the other side of free will, where I come from a perspective of seeing like angels, and then angels doing the work of the higher. So that angels really don't have free will, because they got to do what they got to do that is passed down to them. So they don't necessarily have free will. So there's that whole, you still exist in an ocean. So you have free will within a space, but ultimately everybody has to answer for whatever it is that they have manifested into their reality. So angels manifest as angels to do what they got to do, but they have like a schematic of whatever it is that they're doing. So that's not really free will, but as we exist on one level, and then as we exist in the physical reality, we have a free will from some of the deepest examples of free will, because there's some incredibly horrible things that can happen in this reality, which is an example of free will on one level. And then there's the balance of that is the incredibly vibrant things that could happen. So we live in this extreme, intense space, and over time, this imposed will of control and dominance has been has manifested into all these different versions of control and distraction. And best believe that the flat Earth realization or information stream is going to be manipulated or distracted from, or distracted within, or have some kind of opposition or controlled opposition within this understanding, because this is involving the entire foundation of that which these control grids exist upon. So to jump into this was we found out this information, and we just need to share it with people, and then that's it. That's the only thing that needs to change, is we need to go from flat or from round to flat, and then that's it. And then that's not it. That's going to be, if you do that, you're going to miss a lot of things that are going on. And to have the capacity or the mentality to do that is very linear. It's very one-sided, because there are all these movements that are going on. There's the Black consciousness movement that's going on, to where people in the United States and the indigenous people all over the world have to understand the colonized psyche, the colonized mindset, the slave mentality, the historical design of this whole program that led up to the flat earth. There's the New Age movement that has gotten people to give their power away completely to these so-called higher vibrations, and in the laws of free will, have, in a sense, relinquished their involvement in their 3D or physical reality creation space, because they have totally vested their energy into this higher dimensional storyline. And it's not these aliens or extraterrestrials or channeled energies that are doing anything to them. They have just created a space where people have done this to themselves. They separate from the individuals who are, oh, those are those people who are stuck in politics, or those are those people who are stuck in the ghettos and all this other stuff. This is how they rationalize in this New Age community. They rationalize that space instead of finding it in themselves to understand how it exists and why it exists as a whole. So that's one version, like the New Age walls, the New Age diversion, and this will also be utilized to bring in this whole United Nations oneness space, where they're talking about climate change and that whole extension of the globe model. And that'll go into the last video where I was talking about, where the science of that would be like Nassim Haramein's dual torus hurtling through space, sort of gravity squared time, like trying to understand a bogus science to begin with. So there's the slave consciousness, there's the dying of old programs, and the amplification or the jump starting of the new / ancient programs that are positive, that are highly vibrant spaces. And this is a very touchy space that we're in, because everybody thinks that their version of change is the right version of change, because everybody is seeing within their own eyes, within their own perspective. So you got like the Black consciousness and the indigenous consciousness all over the world. You have the New Age people who are finding their connections to themselves and finding their higher space. At the same time, a lot of them are being caught up in this distractive environment, to where they just give their power away and then keep waiting on a new savior from a spaceship this time. And then you have the people who are distracted constantly by waiting on another Snowden, or what's going to happen from Snowden, and that whole RT Hollywood version of disclosure, Bernie Sanders shift in reality. You have what's behind that, which is the Illuminati stuff and the New World Order and the Freemasonry information. There's the fear programs and the love programs that are all creating this distraction to expand and keep you in this kind of state of limbo. So there's the Illuminati that's out there. There's the alien agenda, and that's linked in with the New Age agenda and the United Nations agenda. There's the transhumanism agenda, which is locked in within the science community and the university system, and the extension of all this whole global warming, climate change, shift for a more sustainable environment, and evolve your human reality to a technological future based upon the evolution that was created through the university system itself. You got NASA that's involved in the whole like distract. Look, give your power away, give your money away. Look, we're going to Mars. We're going to take pictures over here. We're gonna take pictures over there, and we need $20 billion to do this. And then the other side of that is SpaceX, and SpaceX, which is just another NASA. It's just like a commercial NASA to get you thinking to give your money away, give your power away, and start being more and more distracted with the external versions of your reality, and never going into understanding the depths of any. Yeah. You got the fear that's inherent within the control grid itself of World War III and the New World Order, and that's always lingering over our heads, like, oh yeah, are we gonna go to war with this group or this group? And then you got ISIS, and then you got like the people who are revealing where ISIS came from, and that whole space. And you got the mainstream propaganda that's selling distraction and other versions of how and what's going on and what's going to happen. And then you have the midstream propaganda, the alternative news like TYT selling Bernie Sanders and $15 an hour. And then you got the outside of the midstream and the mainstream of like revealing information, like Alex Jones would be leading up to so the Bohemian Grove stuff, and then moving into like alien agenda stuff, and it's all mixed in. It's this big like distraction gumbo. And we have the connection of information with the internet, and we have the free will capacity to, or ability to, see with our own eyes and choose what we look at. And if we give all of our energy away to our physical eyes, and then we are inherently turning off the maximum potential of our intuitive eye and that connection space. And that's what this whole distraction grid is meant to do, is to keep you from understanding how it is, how you are creating your reality, how you're experiencing your reality. And people like Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer, they haven't done that space, or at least reached a point of comfort in that reality to be able to share that. They have only reached a space, if they have, they've only reached a space to share the physical eye version of flat earth. They haven't gone into a space that is beyond that to be able to comfortably share it with people. So this is why it gets repetitive and regurgitating over and over again, and just so light and fairy dusty, is because they haven't challenged themselves to go into looking at all these other movements and programs and systems that exist in order to see how it fits, whether they for whatever reason, maybe it's not part of their journey, maybe it's not, whatever it is, this is what they were designed to do, exactly what they're doing. And if it looks distractive, then it's fucking distractive. Then that's it. If they're just sitting there talking about like cupcakes and fairies and unicorns and all this other stuff and just repeating it, so then shit, you get what you get. That's it. So you can't look for anything more than what is provided in a space like that. And when you have so many different versions of shifts in consciousness and movement, and seeing that we're talking about ultimate freedom here. We're talking about truly understanding our relationship with each other and our relationship with the earth plane and consciousness itself, it's a big deal. And this is why you have all of these giant distractions, and these giant versions of change and shift and power and all this. This is why all this stuff is out there, is because this is such a big deal. And the more and more distracted people are, the more and more time that the so-called controllers have to maintain their energy hoarding. And in a direct reference to like flat earth change, like what are you gonna go out there and just like people are just gonna see what they see, they're gonna hear what they hear. I have friends and family who act like I'm not even saying stuff, like I'm not even in like in the room or in direct communication with them when I start talking about stuff, or I haven't said anything. Like, it's weird. So it doesn't matter how loud you yell. The earth is flat. You can yell as loud as you want. You can yell, about whatever. You can yell Illuminati, New World Order, alien agenda, transhumanism, climate change. You can yell all of this stuff and it can all be a part of another layer of programming, but it's not going to matter if the individual is still looking with eyes that are clouded or atrophied or not ready for whatever that is. And ultimately, collectively, we are moving as a whole towards a freer space. And it's going to take some time. So we can't we can't have any expectations on, it doesn't matter if you have 1 billion subscribers, you can't have any expectations on individuals to do or say anything, because they're only going to be able to say and do it from their level of consciousness, and you might not want them out there saying or doing whatever it is that they're doing from that level of consciousness, because it'll be like generic. It'll be missing a whole lot of points and a whole lot of other things. And these people know that too. They know that. So this is why they stick to their version of reality and continue just sharing the same, just the earth is flat, and then that's their job right now, is to get as much information about that out there so people can stumble upon it and eventually get there on their own. But these people who are getting there on their own have to also understand on their own how politics fits into this, how the mainstream fits in, how their family fits in, how climate change and the United Nations and the whole university system and whatever it is that they believe as their reality, they have to see that first. They have to fix their eyes first before their feet start to move, or their spiritual feet start to move, or their flat earth feet start to move. All of their eyes have to be fixed first. And the only people that can fix their eyes are the individuals themselves. So people are adjusting their eyes right now and activating their inner eye in order to see where it is that we're going to move collectively. And that can't be forced. It can only be understood and understood and overstood over time. So that is basically my whole point. I wanted to get something out there about free will and this whole expectation with movement and people and leaders in this whole space. I just wanted to put this out there. So I'll leave it there. Until next time, thank you for joining me. Peace, love, and harmony.